Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of I Watch This For You on your favorite Backstreets channel, Streets Noir. If you see on my other titles of the video, there's the IWTFY, which is I Watch This For You, and I've never really stated it before. It's just me watching video or movies for you guys to get a more expansive library in my movies that I've seen, and hopefully for you guys as well. Maybe I'll just start calling it IWTFY. IWTFY? 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 IWTFY. Sure, I'll stick with that. So what we do here is just use a random Netflix movie generator to get a movie that I haven't watched, and I'm gonna review it and show it to you guys. So hopefully maybe you guys can watch it and check it out for yourself. I have been gone for a while. Yeah. And I've done a bit of watching on my own time. I'll do a quick review of some stuff that I've watched and just share with you guys. Godzilla -1. Pretty darn amazing. In my opinion, the only good Godzilla movie to ever exist. Coming to the fact that I haven't seen the anime Godzilla movies, or Godzilla Shin, I think is what it's called. I haven't seen those. But this one really focused on the emotional depth of the characters and how Godzilla brought them trauma. Godzilla is genuinely terrifying in this movie. The score of the movie is great, and the character development is on point. Really good. There were a few moments in the movie that were just a tad slow in between fighting Godzilla and just normal day life, which isn't really like that much of a critique. It's more of just a personal preference. It was just like there was a lot of planning on what they're going to do against Godzilla. Some of the emotional elements were just kind of at times, but some of them really did hit hard for the most part. So for a very mostly amazing movie, I would give this movie a 9 out of 10. Minari, it's not really a new movie, but me and my girlfriend watched this and we're like, hey, it's that sound from TikTok. This movie is about a Korean family that moved from California to Arkansas to start a farm. Mostly the dad's idea to do that. What the dad didn't want to do for the rest of his life was to become a chicken sexer. And what chicken sexers are they just check chicks' genitalia, see if they are male or female, and, you know, put them in different bins depending. And he just didn't want to do that for his whole life. So what he did was become a farmer. This movie is full of hope, emotional drama, just a real tearjerker of a movie, and yet still hopeful by the end of it through all that happens. Really amazing movie. One of those movies that gets you silent when the credits roll. I will say, like Godzilla, there were a few moments that were just a bit slow and just kind of talking and stuff, which again, isn't really a bad thing, but to be a 10 out of 10, you know, you gotta be perfect. So this one gets a 9 out of 10 again. Just a really emotionally moving movie, and by the end of it, you feel inspired. Saltburn. It was a weird movie. Story wasn't great. It was weird. If you're going in for something weird, go for it. 4 out of 10. X, with our favorite abusive actress, Mia Goth. This movie was alright. It's labeled as a horror movie, but there weren't really more horrific aspects to it as much as there were just disturbing aspects. It's one of those movies you go into and you're like, oh, that was weird. But that's kind of it. The actors and actresses act like how they would in a stereotypical horror movie, with moments of humanity in between. And the moments of humanity are what makes it kind of good. This movie, it wasn't bad. Wasn't the greatest either, but it wasn't bad. It was just like it's cool. 6 out of 10. Yeah. Christine. This is a movie about a reporter based on real events. This reporter has awful social skills, so she has a really tough time talking to people and connecting with people, but she's really good at her job. So this movie kind of just like goes into how her lack of social skills makes her become lonely and depressive and make bad decisions. And it's just kind of a really sad movie and a really, really slow burn. Wouldn't watch it again, but it's an interesting watch. For this one, I'd give it like a 5 out of 10. Some shows that I watched. Gen V, pretty good. It holds up to The Boys pretty well, which is what this show is based off of. It's a decent time. Most of the characters just felt a little 2D, like this was their one issue and that is what they're based off of the whole time, instead of having a bit more humanity to them, I guess. The only characters that didn't really feel very 2D were Kate Dunlap and Emma Meyer. And that's their like character names. But I had a fun time with it. I just wish they would have fleshed out character development a little bit more, rather than just being like, oh, I'm like kind of just better now. It was good. I just wish they would have done that more. The action was fun. The gore was obviously gonna be there because it's based off The Boys. It was good, just not as good as The Boys. I give like a 6.5 out of 10. Castlevania Nocturne, awful. Don't watch it unless you haven't seen the original Castlevania. Then you might like it. I don't know. But if you've seen the original Castlevania, this show is the biggest letdown maybe ever in my entire life. After watching the show, I just felt like I reached a new low, and it couldn't get any lower than that until I got to the finale, and it got even lower. Some of the action sequences are kind of fun in the finale, and that was it. So yeah, like 2 out of 10. Pluto, which is an anime on Netflix. This series was amazing. This series is based in the future, where humans and robots kind of exist together. Most of the robots that are AI are still very robotic looking, but there are 7 AI that look human, but they exist like as a human would. And they learn from humans and they develop as humans. And because of this, they develop emotions that weren't in their programming just because they learn from humans. It's a big detective case. This show is full of emotion, suspense. It's just a great show. It's only 8 episodes. Each episode is about an hour long, so probably couldn't watch it all in one sitting, but could watch it in just like a couple days because it's only one season too. This show was perfect. There was nothing wrong with this show. So this might sound controversial, but this show, Pluto, on Netflix, 2023, gets a 10 out of 10. Yay! I love this show so much. So if you haven't seen Pluto, go watch it. It is just so good. And for an anime, there's like little to no weird anime fan service. There's no like with the dub too. Actually, I watched the dub, so it was in English. Is perfect. There's like they put emotion behind their voices. It's no like very monotone when the character is obviously portraying more emotion in animation. It is such a great show. Just profound. I love it so much. Not very like in your face action poppy like a bunch of Mappa Studio animations, but the story is well worth your time. Okay, now that that's out of the way, let's talk about the actual movie that I'm actually going to be talking about actually right now. Actually, for real. Okay, so the movie I'm going to be talking about today is called Brain on Fire, which is a 2016 movie based on a real event where a lady named Susanna Callahan developed something in her brain, hence the title, where her brain catches on fire spontaneously. And this happened in real life. Oh my gosh. No, that'd be cool if that did happen. Basically, she develops this weird thing that makes her confused and see things, just act really odd. Her family is like, yo, we should like help her out. And they try to find a cure. Yeah, that's like the whole premise of the story. The stars of this movie are Chloe Grace Moretz, who's in Nimona, Kick-Ass, and Let Me In, Thomas Mann, who is in Kong Skull Island, Me and Earl and the Dying Girl, and Project X, and Richard Armitage, who is in all of the Hobbit movies, Alice Through the Looking Glass, and Into the Storm. The director is Jared Barrett.
Gerard. Okay, Gerard.
Who's directed small projects like Small Town. Small projects like... Okay. Glassland and Pilgrim Hill. We open on a girl named Susanna Callahan who is self-narrating by being trapped in her own body and how she used to be like normal and stuff. Then we cut to her working in the office and she's all like, you might be wondering how I got there. Well, watch the movie. You know just about as much as I do. Well, I know. Don't ask me questions. Watch the movie or watch the spoilers. I don't know. She's working at her job, talking to coworkers, texting her boyfriend, just doing normal day life. So Susanna goes to her dad's house, which her mom and her dad are separated. She goes to her dad's house for her birthday, and then her boyfriend Steven comes up and is like, "Yeah, it's my first time meeting your dad. Do you think I look sexy and hot?" Susanna tells him that he looks like a tan Smurf. I would have turned around and walked into traffic at that point. But they go up, start hanging out, her mom shows up, and then it's time for Susanna to blow out the candles. So when she tries to blow out the candles, she's like, she can't blow out the candles, and so her parents blow them out for her. At this point, I think it's kind of funny because the parents don't even ask Susanna like, "Hey, are you good?" They're just like, "Do you want us to do it for you?" Fine. And then they blow it out and they're like, I just want cake. I don't care if my daughter can't breathe. I want cake. Yeah! Guys, I can't breathe. Oh, damn, she can't breathe. This cake is phenomenal. But that's just kind of how the story starts out. What could be wrong with Susanna? That's about as far as I'm going to go before I talk about spoilers. Spoilers are going to come up. Spoilers. But before we get into that, let's hear a word from our sponsor. Oh, there's no sponsor? Staplers. They're good for, stapling. Stapling. They're stapling people. So Susanna slowly dives deeper and deeper into confusion by hearing ringing noises, voices, and seeing things. Which at this point you're like, schizophrenia. We'll talk about that. While she's going through this, at work, which she works at a journalism magazine, her boss is like, you're acting weird. We're gonna make you have an interview with the senator, the governor, some important fella, and we're all counting on you to do it right. And she's just sitting there like, yeah, she's ready. She's ready for this. So by the time the interview comes around, she's sloppy, saying inappropriate things to the senator, talking about pee-pee, and then trips over herself. Didn't see that coming. That's crazy. Later, because of this, the boss tells Susanna that she's going to start working from home because Susanna's been acting weird in the office as well, shouting at people, acting hysterical. She's going mad kooky right now. The boss isn't firing her. She's just gonna start working from home. At this point, she has a seizure at home with Steven there. Steven takes her to the hospital. The dad comes around and is like, "Why didn't you call us?" Steven's like, "I don't know, I was flipping out, I was crazy, I just wanted to take her to the hospital." And the dad's like, "You didn't think to look in Susanna's phone and look for mom and dad? Flipping dummy." And Steven's like, "Her phone was locked. I don't know her password." Now that didn't actually happen, but wouldn't that be funny if that did? Her phone was locked, okay? I don't know her password. That's no excuse! After this, Susanna's mom is like, "You're gonna start living with us now." Susanna's living with her mom now. She's still acting weird and kooky, swimming in the pool with all of her clothes on, staring for a long time. You know, the good lead paint stare. And sleepwalking, and cutting oranges, and playing piano. She is doing some really scary things, okay? Playing the piano? Get out of my house. And so that's what the mom does. After Susanna goes and picks up some medications from a psychiatrist after being diagnosed as bipolar, Susanna's like, actually, I don't want to take the pills. These pills are making me act crazy. So the mom's like, "Take the pills. Take the pills! Take the pills!" Oh, gosh. That was uncalled for. "Mom, why are you screaming at me?" "I can't take this." "You're going to your dad's." And so she goes to her dad's. The mom tells the dad, "Hey, she's acting really, weird. Really scary, actually. She's acting so scary. The dad's like, it's okay, I'll handle it. And then while Susanna is at the dad's house, Susanna's like, why did you call me a brat? To the stepmom. I didn't say anything. She's like, you just said it again! And then she starts thinking that she's kidnapped and breaks her plate and backs into a corner and is like, to get away from me! I'm being kidnapped, somebody help! That's kind of scary. What happened here scary? I don't know what happened at the mom's house that could be scary like that unless it was just assumed that it was off screen. It's like, oh my gosh, she's cutting oranges? Get her out of here! So the mom and the dad decide to go to the psychiatrist and talk about how she needs to go to a hospital. There's a really weird line delivery from the dad. He's like, I need my daughter in a hospital. Call the police. I've got nothing to lose. Like, two things. Why would you call the police by wanting your daughter to go to a hospital? I want my daughter hospitalized. Get this man! Put this man in jail! He wants to have freaking health? He wants his daughter to be healthy? Not in my United States of America. And then he also has nothing to lose. You have a new wife. You have a nice apartment. I've got nothing to lose. Okay. Your wife just is listening in. This guy. Susanna does eventually get put into a hospital. She tries to escape because she thinks people are listening to her, talking about her. But eventually she gets put back into the bed, tied down, and sedated. Doctors are all like, she's psychotic. She has schizophrenia. We're gonna put her into a mental hospital. And the mom and dad are like, hell no, you're not. Not to my daughter. We're gonna get outside opinions. So eventually they get another doctor to come in. Even if it was a little bit more time in the movie, or in real life, in the movie, it was like 15 minutes, and the doctor figured out what was actually wrong with her. What she had was anti-NMDA receptor encephalitis, which is just kind of like the inflammation of one side of your brain. And he figured out this by having Susanna do a little drawing of a clock, and all the numbers appeared on one side of the clock instead of the other. All figured out, she gets treated. By the end of the movie, she's acting all hunky-dory, and she's like, I had to relearn everything. And if you think about it, not the greatest movie in the world, but what sucks is that how this movie was based off of, the events of this movie was based off of, is interesting. It is interesting to see doctors find a cure to something that maybe doesn't have a cure. That's cool. That is neat. The movie was a little boring. The acting felt very super scripted. Pacing was alright because it was just an hour, 30-minute movie, so they really trimmed it down a lot. But I don't know, it just felt like Susanna going crazy montage and then finding a cure montage, and then it ended. Hey there, you're back. If you skip the spoilers. How's it going? Going good? Pew. Yeah, this movie was just alright. Wasn't my particular cup of tea. Interesting to say the least, interesting events that happened in real life, but the movie was just kind of bleh, kind of bland. The characters felt very scripted, especially the boss. The boss of the journalism place felt scripted to heck. It was just like, man, he's screaming, but it all feels scripted at the same time. Same with just about every other character, especially Susanna. Susanna delivered her lines very boastfully, but very emotionlessly. Kind of like a high school play kind of vibe. Thomas Mann, who played Steven, was alright. He wasn't really given enough screen time, but he was just alright. And Hugh Jackman, Richard Armitage, was really a one-trick pony kind of guy. He would yell, be stern, and then just be like, I'm sorry. And then his one emotion was putting his hands on his face. He's like, oh, I'm sad. And then I guess the director was like, you have an sad face. Put your hands over your face before I put a bag over it. I'm sad.
Okay, hey Rich. Yeah, good job, buddy. Yeah, you did well.
Good. Oh, man, that was a tough one. Story and pacing was fine given that the movie was an hour 30. It just felt like they could have had more development with the family, kind of being like how they were affected over time, or how Steven was affected over time, or even how her friend Margot was affected over time, which I didn't mention before. Margot, who's played by Jenny Slate, she was decent. She was actually the most human character in the movie, especially in one scene where she is in the hospital. Don't really want to spoil, but it feels very emotional and it feels very real. And that was probably the only good scene in the whole movie. But for how short this is and how underdeveloped it feels and how the premise of this movie, it just feels like montage after montage and no real development of the characters and emotional connection to them. It's just kind of a breeze. Nothing great about it. So for that, this movie is like a 4.5 out of 10. Wouldn't watch again, but put it on in the background if you just want to have some noise on. It's not like it'll tear your ears off, but it won't keep your attention either. And that's it for me, guys. So get your knapsack and get, because these streets are getting swept. If you get caught by the cops again, I'm not bailing you out this time, okay? You're serving time. I won't do it. I won't do it. Don't go to jail. I mean, I'll visit, obviously. Make sure you guys yell at the like button for being sick, smash a plate over the subscribe button, and bring flowers to the notification bell, because the notification bell is always a real one. I'm gonna leave for now, but I will reappear in your dreams. Okay. Peace, baby.